Thanks for tuning in to a few minutes about Emily Dickinson. Some thoughts I have really just to get us started on the genius of Amherst, Massachusetts, born in 1830 and died in 1886. Fairly long and, for the most part, healthy life, and long enough for her to produce over, we think, 1,800 poems. That is production. We think she only published 11 during her lifetime, none with her name attached to it. Emily Dickinson spent her entire life in Amherst, Massachusetts, with the exception of 1 year where she did go away to Mount Holyoke Seminary, basically a college experience, but only for 1 year. Most women who went there was women only. Most women who went there only went for a year before most women, before they went off to be courted and eventually get engaged and married, something that Emily Dickinson herself never did. And yeah, she stayed in her parents' home her whole life. Why? Because she had to focus. I think that she knew from an early age that she was a genius, and she had something to say. She had a lot to say, and becoming a wife and potentially a mother would have been quite the distraction away from the monumental tasks that she had in producing poetry. She saw her mother do a lot of housework. Can you imagine how much housework a woman had to do in the middle of the 19th century, right? So I think Emily Dickinson, who certainly helped out quite a lot in her household, but to take on her own household and her own marriage, maybe too much. We don't know if she fell in love with any suitors. There are poems that do talk about that express intense romantic love. She had a very close relationship with her sister-in-law, her brother's wife, who lived right across the way from her. They saw each other all the time. Emily Dickinson shared poems with her. They wrote each other letters quite often. Very important person, if not the most important person for Emily Dickinson's adult life. They were very close. Was it romantic? We don't know. There is some speculation. There's some other speculation about two other figures in her life, but we just don't know. What we do know is that she lives by herself, and it's unlikely she ever acted on any romantic feelings that she had for other people. We do know that she felt intensely. Emily Dickinson is for you because you're a human being and you have thought about the things that Emily Dickinson has thought about, even though she's from quite a different time than ours. You've thought about the beauty of nature. You've thought about your place in the universe. Emily Dickinson has poems about that. You've probably felt the intensity of romantic love. Emily Dickinson has poems about that. You have felt, you may still be continuing to feel, all of these things, of course, pressure to conform. How do you deal with that? Emily Dickinson's got poems about that. You've asked yourself, is there an afterlife? What happens to us when the body dies? You've wondered if the promises of maybe a religion that you follow, are those promises true? You've wondered about that. What if they're not? Emily Dickinson has plenty of poems about that. There are times, most likely, when you've thought about your distaste for the social world, maybe social media itself, and for influencers, and putting yourself out there, and the public, the public aspects of life, and tooting your own horn. Emily Dickinson has poems about restraint and about valuing the private life, almost as if she anticipated the distasteful nature of a lot of social media. Maybe you have experienced grief, the dark freezing, the eventual thawing, whether partial or total. Emily Dickinson has multiple poems about that, and especially all of this, underlining all of this and linking Emily Dickinson to me and to you is the primacy of the imagination. Maybe the greatest gift that we have, the greatest tool that we have is our imagination. And that's all throughout Emily Dickinson's poems. So as you read Dickinson's poems, I think you're going to find them accessible, fairly easy to understand. Some of the punctuation is going to look quite odd. So what? If there's a word capitalized here, a comma seems to be in an odd place there, or a dash. Sometimes maybe you'll make some meaning of it. Other times you can ignore it. Don't forget that the rules of punctuation were not established in the middle of the 19th century like they are here in the 21st century. And sometimes Dickinson is playing with punctuation. Other times, I personally don't think the word capitalized always means something significant in her poem. So you'll find it, like I said, you'll find it accessible and fairly easy to read. And if you have a 3-stanza poem and there's a line that you don't quite get, so what? You'll still be able to take something away from the poem. And just like all great works of art, they're meant to be enjoyed more than once, certainly. So have that positive attitude, and as you understand some more of her biography, and the more you read about the history and the society of 19th century America, especially 19th century New England. She's in Massachusetts. She lives through the Civil War. She lives through technological changes like the coming of the railroad. She herself, biographically speaking, she does have some health issues. She's worried at one point in her life about losing her vision. Imagine that. Of course, it's horrendous for all of us. She's a poet, so she worries about that. She goes to Boston and to Philadelphia. She doesn't travel in her life other than for those two cities, and she goes there for some medical treatment. So you understand that. You understand how she loses people who are close to her in life. Emily Dickinson feels very intensely and is, of course, able to express it. So you understand that biography, the joy of nature, and the special, very intense connections she has with some people, and the sad fact that, of course, she loses people who are very close to her. And you understand, like I said, that social, historical, and also biographical context, and that will bring that much more meaning to her words. Thanks for listening.